In the early 16th century, a group of ancient Mayans embarked on a hunting expedition somewhere in the Central American jungle. Led by Flint Sky, the group chased a wild tapir that ran frantically through the forest before it got caught in a wire trap and was impaled on a swinging branch full of spikes. Jaguar Paw, Flint Sky's son, puts the tapir out of its misery and later distributes portions of the animal among fellow hunters, Curl Nose, Smoke Frog, and Cocoa Leaf. However, Jaguar Paw jokingly offers Blunted the tapir's testicles, since he and his wife have yet to have any children, claiming it would enhance his fertility. Blunted takes a bite, but then quickly spits them out. In another attempt to amuse themselves, Flint Sky offers him some red leaves that he instructs him to use the next time he and his wife try. On their way back to the village, the group is interrupted by a band of refugees who look starved and weakened, seeking passage through the area. A fisherman among them explains to Jaguar Paw that their village was attacked and that they are seeking a new beginning. While Jaguar Paw is keen to know more about what happened, Flint Sky intervenes and they exchange food between the group before moving on. Upon returning to the village, Flint Sky explains to his son that the refugees were infected with fear and that it should not be brought into the village to fester. He reassures Jaguar Paw that tomorrow they'll discuss what to do about the wanderers, urging Jaguar Paw not to worry for the time being. The tribe celebrated joyously upon the hunter's return. Everybody laughed as Blunted's mother-in-law ridicules him about his inability to give her grandkids and forces him to impregnate her daughter, Sky Flower. Jaguar Paw approaches his little son, Turtle's Run, and plays with him before returning to his hut and meeting his pregnant wife, Seven. On the other hand, Blunted runs out of his hut screaming and holding his privates before seating himself in a water trough. Flint Sky falls to the ground laughing as the leaves he gave Blunted were meant to cause a burning sensation when rubbed. Blunted yells at him but starts laughing with everyone else. That night, the tribe gathered around a fire as an old storyteller tells how a man once received gifts from the forest until the forest had nothing left to give. Later, the villagers began to play music and dance while enjoying the tranquility of their surroundings. However, the next morning brought a horrific turn of events. While the rest of the tribe is asleep, Jaguar Paw wakes up from a dream about a man holding his guts in his hand and notices fire torches quickly approaching the village. Turns out, a clandestine group of Mayan warriors are attempting to abduct the sleeping inhabitants of the tribe. In the midst of the chaos, the warriors burn the huts and start capturing the villagers as they fight to defend themselves and escape. Jaguar Paw successfully rescues his wife and child and puts them in a deep hole to hide. He ties a rope to a nearby rock so that they can climb out again before killing an attacker and runs back to the village to help. Back in the village, Blunted is held down while Sky Flower is forced into a hut. Jaguar Paw returns only to find out that the village is beyond saving, with huts burned and bodies scattered on the ground. Some people are dead, and even more are tied up. He then notices Flint Sky fighting a warrior, Middle Eye, and hurries to help. They exchange several hard blows, but just as Jaguar Paw is about to overpower Middle Eye, the leader of the Mayan warriors, Zero Wolf intervenes and throws Jaguar Paw to the ground. Meanwhile, Middle Eye is furious that Jaguar Paw got the better of him and wants to kill him, but Zero Wolf forbids him. Instead, Middle Eye kills Jaguar Paw's father right in front of his eyes, relishing in how much pain it's bringing him. Seeing his father being killed right in front of him was brutal and shatters Jaguar Paw as expected. After some time, Jaguar Paw wakes up and finds that the people of the tribe are now prisoners. They're tied up together, forced to watch as the women of the tribe are assaulted and killed right in front of their eyes, including Blunted's own wife. That's when Snake Inc., a member of the hunting party, notices Jaguar Paw looking towards the hole. Snake Inc. investigates, but does not notice Seven and Turtle's Run. He is, however, suspicious of the rope dangling into the hole and cuts it. Realizing she would not be able to escape, Jaguar Paw understood that she was as good as dead. The warriors forced the tribe to march through the treacherous jungle. The fierce-looking leader of the Holcanes, Zero Wolf reunites with his son Cut Rock, who has suffered a bruising blow to the head, swelling his right eye shut. Zero Wolf cuts lines into his brow to release the pressure of the blood, allowing his son to see again. The group meets up with a second raiding group, which has caught the band of refugees seen the day before. Jaguar Paw recognizes the fisherman as the two groups are led further into the forest, followed by the children of the two clans. As they cross a raging river, the children are halted by the fast-flowing water. The eldest girl cries out that the children are hers now, and she will take care of them. Meanwhile, 7 remained in the hole, waiting for Jaguar Paw's return. But the realization of their impending doom becomes increasingly apparent. On the other hand, bound together with their hands tied, the prisoners endured days of exhausting travel. At one point, while treading a narrow path on a cliff, Cocoa Leaf, severely injured in the village raid, loses his footing and dangles over the edge. Although they manage to pull themselves to safety, thanks to Jaguar Paw, Middle Eye cold-heartedly cuts Cocoa Leaf free of his binds and shoves him over the cliffside. Zero Wolf berates him for losing one of their captives, though Middle Eye asserts he was only dead weight. At night, as they camp, Zero Wolf gives his son a large dagger, as he managed to kill many men. It is a symbol of Cut Rock's manhood, proven by the successful raid. Meanwhile, Blunted laments and promises to take as many captives with him to Hell if he does not find his Skyflower there. As they got closer to their destination, the prisoners came across large swaths of cleared land, with gigantic trees being chopped down. Soon, they come across a wasteland where a young girl sick with sores on her face and hands, sitting next to her dead mother, approaches the group, but Snake Ink forcefully pushes her away several times, since, with a stick, she's infected. She previously stares at Jaguar Paw before warning them of their impending doom. A man who brings the blackness of night and a jaguar is reborn of mud and earth and claims that this man is among them now. Clearly disturbed by this prophecy, the prisoners are left unsettled, but they move on as she continues to call them. Soon, they reach the Mayan city where workers are working covered in limestone. As they pass by, a worker coughs blood, after which an old man approaches the captives, drooling and begging for help. He is kicked away by Holcane and told to die with dignity. As the prisoners make their way through the streets, they eye the crowds with confusion and pity. The buildings are huge, bigger than any hut, and there are thousands of people crowding the streets. The prisoners are then painted from shoulder to foot in a vibrant blue hue. Then, the female captives are separated from the men and are sold as slaves. Blunted watches as his mother-in-law is auctioned, but rejected due to her age. She is freed to wander, and she follows Blunted as far as she can go, touching his arm assuredly before closing her eyes against a pillar, helpless. The prisoners are then led through a tunnel, and while passing by some murals, they come across depictions of brutal sacrifices involving people covered in blue. Soon, they arrive in a place that is dominated by colossal stone pyramids painted in red, with a central staircase leading to the top. Enormous crowds gather around these pyramids, chanting and dancing. At the top of the main pyramid, a group of men perform a ritual, resulting in several heads tumbling down the steps and into the crowd. Eventually, the prisoners are guided to the top of the pyramid, where a gathering of priests addresses the crowd, explaining that a devastating plague has befallen the city, afflicting its inhabitants and making them appear weak. However, he asserts that they are not weak and, to prove it, they will offer sacrifices to their mighty god. The crowd erupts in cheers. The first sacrifice is gruesome. One of the prisoners is dragged onto the platform, laid flat, and cut open while still alive. His insides are torn out and presented as an offering to their god before he is beheaded. This horrifying ritual is repeated again, leaving Jaguar Paw and the other prisoners paralyzed with fear, fully aware that they are next. The same fate befalls Curl Nose before Jaguar Paw is brought to the sacrificial pedestal. When it is Jaguar's turn to be sacrificed, it seems as though his life is about to end. However, just before the knife descends, a solar eclipse occurs, causing great alarm and confusion among the Mayan civilization. The high priest interprets it as a sign from their god, indicating his satisfaction with their sacrifices and bestowing his blessings upon them. Miraculously, Jaguar's life is spared, but only temporarily. The remaining prisoners are taken to the outskirts of the city, to a long open field. Beyond the field lies the dense jungle. One of the prisoners is untied in order to run into the jungle for a chance at freedom. They do just that, only for the warriors to start firing arrows and throwing missiles at them. They try and dodge, but are quickly struck down. Blunted and Smoke Frog are the first to run, but Blunted is speared in the lower back and Smoke Frog is hit with a large stone before being finished by Cut Rock. Next, Jaguar Paw and the fisherman are told to flee. Jaguar Paw's necklace is ripped off by Middle Eye and thrown into the dirt, a dark omen, before he runs. Though they evade most of the projectiles, the fisherman is shot through the head by Snake Ink's arrow, and Jaguar Paw is impaled through his side, falling near Blunted. Before Cut Rock can finish him, Blunted lunges and grabs Cut Rock by the leg, buying Jaguar Paw some time. Cut Rock kills Blunted with a single blow to the head, but Jaguar Paw breaks off the arrowhead in his own body and stabs Cut Rock in the neck. Cut Rock stumbles as Jaguar Paw stands, removes the arrow shaft from his side, and runs into the forest. Zero Wolf watches in horror as his son is struck down. As his son dies in his arms, Zero Wolf takes back his dagger and puts his son's necklace into his belt before running after Jaguar Paw. Jaguar is running for his life, but can hear the Mayan warriors chasing him, tracking him. Thinking quickly, he climbs a tree and hides in the brush until the Mayans pass. But as he hides, blood drips down from his wound and lands on one of the Mayan warriors' backs. But fortunately, they run past him. Once they are gone, Jaguar Paw takes a sigh of relief and turns, only to find a black jaguar cub growling at him. He hears a louder roar behind him and turns to see the threatening mother jaguar. Meanwhile, the Holcanes stop, realizing they have lost Jaguar Paw's trail. However, one of them notices blood on Middle Eye's shoulder, and they backtrack, keeping their eyes on the trees. Soon, they see Jaguar Paw sprinting through the forest, and Speaking Wind follows him. As their paths merge, Speaking Wind is attacked by the jaguar that was chasing Jaguar Paw. He is viciously attacked to death before the others arrive and kill the jaguar. Meanwhile, Jaguar Paw, driven by fear and determination, flees into the depths of the jungle. At this point, the warriors realize that the death of their friend is a sign that the omen given by the sick little girl is happening. Zero Wolf hushes them all, eager to find and kill Jaguar Paw. The chase lasts through the night and into the morning. Back at the hole, Seven and her son witness a fierce battle between a pack of baboons. In the midst of the chaos, one of the baboons falls into the hole, posing a threat to them. Seven is forced to defend herself and her child. Meanwhile, the warriors continue to track Jaguar Paw. That's when Drunkard's 4 approaches a tree and notices the blue paint that Jaguar Paw rubbed onto the tree. But a snake lashes out and bites him on the neck, killing him. They leave the body and keep looking for Jaguar Paw. With each passing moment, the warriors draw closer to Jaguar Paw. Arrows are hurled in his direction, narrowly missing him by mere inches. Fleeing for his life, he stumbles upon a mighty waterfall. Taking a final deep breath, he musters his courage and jumps off the edge. To everyone's shock, he survives and manages to swim to the shore. Jaguar Paw stands on the riverbank, calling out to the Holcanes that this is his forest and his descendants will continue to hunt in it. Impatient, Zero Wolf stabs Snake Ink when he suggests climbing down rather than jumping. He then commands his men to jump before throwing himself over. Buzzard Hook is the first to jump, but dies when he hits his head on a submerged rock. The others are luckier and continue their chase. Jaguar Paw, driven by desperation, runs back into the dense jungle, but accidentally falls into a mud pit and almost drowns. He emerges covered in mud and collapses on his back, seemingly defeated. However, his thoughts turn to his beloved wife, and he finds the strength to be brave, just as his father taught him. Meanwhile, the warriors search the surroundings in search of Jaguar Paw, when suddenly, he shows up in front of them, holding a leaf above his head. He tosses the leaf aside, revealing a hornet's nest. Chaos ensues as the enraged hornets attack the warriors. On the other hand, Seven desperately tries to escape the hole by tossing a branch to the surface with the rope attached to it. She manages to climb halfway, but the branch dislodges, causing her to fall. Though she is barely hurt, her water breaks from the trauma. Jaguar Paw then tracks down a poisonous toad and uses its poison to coat 3 long thistles. He marks a spot in the jungle and circles around to come in behind the warriors. When they stumble upon his marking, Jaguar Paw swiftly shoots one of the warriors with the thistles, instantly killing him. Middle Eye, witnessing the lifeless body, attempts to retrieve it, but Jaguar Paw suddenly appears in front of him. A fierce clash ensues as they attack each other. Evading Middle Eye's wild swings with his axe, Jaguar Paw grabs another axe from the ground and delivers a fatal blow to Middle Eye's head. It suddenly starts raining, and Jaguar Paw races to the cistern, knowing that it will soon fill with water. Zero Wolf and the remaining Holcanes, Monkey Jaw and Ten Peccary, see Middle Eye's body and Jaguar Paw racing into the forest. Jaguar Paw gets to the hole and finds it filling with water, and Seven in labor, screaming for him to hurry. An arrow narrowly misses Jaguar Paw, and he runs into the jungle as Zero Wolf closes in. Monkey Jaw and Ten Peccary pause by the cistern to see Seven and Turtles Run at the bottom before resuming the chase. Jaguar Paw runs through the forest, chased by Zero Wolf. He hears Zero Wolf coming and turns around, but Zero shoots an arrow into his chest, knocking him down. Though wounded, Jaguar Paw stands, waits, and watches as Zero Wolf charges at him with his dagger drawn. Enraged, Zero Wolf fails to notice a tripwire and sets off the tapper trap, becoming impaled on its sharp spikes. He dies as Monkey Jaw and Ten Peccary arrive. As the water continues to rise, Seven is forced to stand on a rock to keep her head above the water as she gives birth. Meanwhile, the chase continues until Jaguar Paw reaches the edge of the jungle and stumbles upon the ocean where he collapses from exhaustion. When they catch up with him, they stop, staring at the sea where a small fleet of Spanish ships is anchored. Soldiers and missionaries are rowing to shore in small boats. Mesmerized, Monkey Jaw and Ten Peccary approach the shoreline while Jaguar Paw races back to the hole. He finds that Seven has just given birth and pulls his family out of the hole. Later, Jaguar Paw and Seven cautiously navigate the outskirts of the jungle, catching sight of the ships on the distant horizon. Filled with curiosity, Seven suggests approaching them, but Jaguar Paw firmly declines. He explains that they should go back to the jungle to seek a fresh start, emphasizing that he is Jaguar Paw and that the jungle is where he truly belongs.